Here we had a discussion that it was mentioned that guilt is personal. And as a lawyer, I understand that if we go about with the provisions of the revised penal code, Title 2, which refers to the persons who are criminal liable for felonies, yung Article 16 ng sinasabi doon, yung mga principal, accomplices, and accessories, and yung Article 17, sinasabi po doon yung tatlong klase ng principals. Principal by direct participation, principal by inducement, and principal by indispensable cooperation. Yung principal by direct participation, that is what we are referring to guilt, which is personal. And you mentioned a while ago that you are charging the former president because of the conspiracy. And also, he is liable as principal by inducement or principal by indispensable cooperation. Would you care to expound and explain this, Attorney Conti?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Chair, I would like to just clarify also that when you say guilt is personal, it doesn't mean that you have to be on site. You don't have to be the one who pulled the trigger. When you say guilt is personal, it means that you participated in some way or another in the commission of the crime. And when you planned or masterminded a crime, that is guilt that is personal as well. And so the participation of someone by inducement, nagbigay ka ng reward, sinabi mo, gawin mo ito, babayaran kita, that is inducement. By indispensable cooperation, bubuksan ko yung pintuan, gagawa ako ng policy para makapatay ka. At pagkatapos niyan, sisiguraduhin kong hindi ka mapaparusahan o maiimbestigahan. That could be principal by indispensable cooperation.
And a while ago, again, going back to the issue or topic of conspiracy, basically conspiracy means the act of one is the act of all. And how would you allege that the act of these law enforcers will also charge the former president for the victims of these extrajudicial killings?
Well, one, Your Honor, the character itself of crimes against humanity says that this is widespread and systematic killings. At ibig sabihin po ay may sistema na inilagay ang isang nakatataas na opisyales. Usually ay nasa gobyerno para utusan yung mga papatay, kumbaga. At pangalawa, ang konsepto po kasi ng conspiracy ay nag-usap-usap kayo, pinagplanuhan. At kung mai-establish ng ICC, and we believe so, kung mai-establish ng ICC na yung mga patayan ay konektado lahat sa war on drugs, konektado nun sa directives ni Duterte, maituturing po itong conspiracy o pinag-usapan. In fact, Your Honor, when we go back to the concept of negation and neutralization, the policy says so. And we can pull up a lot of police reports where the police would say, oh, we neutralized the suspect. And it is clearly they fatally shot the suspect. Meaning, sinabi mo po na ganito, and this is how it was interpreted on the ground. Yung pong mga police report, klaro ang sinasabi, when you neutralize, you kill that person.
So basically, in layman's term po, Attorney Conti, because of the policy on the war on drugs of former President Duterte, and that is being implemented by the law enforcers, ibig sabihin, they can all be charged for the crimes against humanity because of that policy and implemented by these law enforcers.
A clarification, Your Honor, in crimes against humanity, and if this is charged before the International Criminal Court, they will only haul to court the most responsible, those who bear the greatest responsibility.
And in this case, Attorney Conti, who appeared to be the most responsible?
Clearly, the most responsible for crimes against humanity in the Philippines, in the acts of murder and other inhumane acts, would be none other than President Rodrigo Roa Duterte. That would include some other lower officials, perhaps Senator Bato de la Rosa, who also served as the chief of police during that time.
Are you familiar of the Senate inquiry that was conducted a week ago?
Yes, was it a week ago? I think so. This is the Senate inquiry also on they call it the Philippine War on Illegal Drugs.
And later on, I'm sorry, and a while ago, we also heard the former president reiterated his statement in which he said that I take full legal responsibility on the policy and the implementation of the war on drugs. Would that be correct?
Yes, Your Honor. I also heard him say that he would also like to bear the responsibility for the consequences, legal and most responsible. Ito na nga po, ang tanong nila, sinong may kasalanan, may umaamin. But moving forward into trial, there would be some sort of processes before these statements could be taken as evidence, but it's just a matter of procedure. Pwede pong gamitin ang mga sinabi ni Duterte dito at sa Senado sa pagbubukas po ng trial sa ICC at sa kahit na ano pa man pong korte.
I've seen one of your interviews in the television, and yet you are hopeful that before the 2024 ends, a warrant of arrest will be issued by the International Criminal Court. Inaasahan niyo po ba talaga yan na lumabas bago matapos ang taon ngayon?
Well, yes, Your Honor. But of course, there are processes with the ICC that are out of our control.
Mr. Chair, I just would like to share and inform everyone that earlier today, the Executive Secretary, former Chief Justice Lucas Bersamin, stated that if the former president desires to surrender himself to the jurisdiction of the ICC, the government will neither object to it nor move to block the fulfillment of his desire. Can we ask the reaction or the comment of the lawyers of the victims?
It would be nice to do that, sir, but they do not have any
I think, Mr. Chair, if there's a
Tandaan mo yan.
question with regards to the ICC, the interpretation of the statement of the Executive Secretary is that if the ICC will issue a warrant of arrest and the Interpol is going to execute the warrant of arrest, the Philippine government, the Marcos administration, will not object to it and will allow the serving of the search warrant against President Duterte or whoever is the subject of such search warrant, Mr. Chair.
Yes, I fully agree, Attorney Colmenares. And in fact, that is what is stated in the second paragraph of the statement issued by the Executive Secretary, which I quote, but if the ICC refers the process to Interpol, which may then transmit a red notice to the Philippine authorities, the government will feel obliged to consider the red notice as a request to be honored, in which case the domestic law enforcement agencies shall be bound to accord full cooperation to Interpol pursuant to established protocols. So before I would elicit your comment or reaction, Mr. Chair, I would like to ask the comment of our former President Duterte about this issuance of the Executive Secretary.
I'm happy with the narration of whatever states there is. Ang problema, walang jurisdiction. Bigyan mo muna ako ng jurisdiction before anything else. Before you move, jurisdiction muna. May jurisdiction ba sila?
Okay, Mr. Chair, I would like to ask the lawyers from
Yes.
the NUPL or probably Attorney Jokno can also explain.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The ICC has jurisdiction. When we signed the Rome Statute, it was stated there, Article 127, that the ICC continues to have jurisdiction even if a country has withdrawn, if the proceedings have been instituted before the effectivity of the withdrawal. So 2017, na-file ang kaso originally, and then 2018, ito namang sa Rise Up Mga Pamilya, effectively March of 2019, ang withdrawal ng Pilipinas. So it has been, it has jurisdiction under Article 127. Bakit nilagay sa ICC yon? Kasi Mr. Chair, pag wala yon sa ICC, ang gagawin na lang ng mga presidente at mga prime minister, Eh, pag may kaso sila sa ICC, magwi-withdraw lang sila, wala nang mangyayari. Pero nilagay ng ICC yun na pag nasimulan na ang investigasyon, bago maging effective ang withdrawal mo, the ICC has jurisdiction. The second point, Mr. Chair, is this. Doon sa ICC, mayroong complementarity clause. Ang nakalagay sa ICC complementarity clause is precisely this. If the person is being investigated or prosecuted sa bansa na kung saan siya, then ICC genuinely investigated or prosecuted, then the ICC will not admit the case. Inadmissible siya. Ngayon, ang tanong, may kaso ba o investigasyon o prosecution ang mga akusado sa ICC? Answer, no. So therefore, hindi magti-trigger ang complementarity. And of course, nabanggit kanina, Mr. Chair, may admission mismo si dating Presidente Duterte na ang mga korte natin dito ay ineffective, inefficient. Talagang magagamit po yan, Mr. Chair, sa ICC because the ICC also has a phrase na pag sinabi niya, kahit pa kinasuhan ka sa Pilipinas, pero ito ay inability or unwillingness, ibig sabihin, hindi makadeliver ng accountability, then the ICC continues to have jurisdiction. So the ICC has jurisdiction because of those terms, Mr. Chair. And last point na lang, Mr. Chair. Pag pumirma tayo ng kontrata, we subtract something from our sovereignty. When we signed the protocols with the Interpol, na pag may siniserve kayo dito na warrant of arrest, susundin namin yan, that's part of our giving up a part of our sovereignty doon sa ganyang klase na obligasyon. The same din sa ICC. At hindi maganda, Mr. Chair, na pag sakali hindi i-fulfill ng Philippine government ang pinirmahan niya sa Rome Statute many years ago, ang sabihin ng international community, hindi pala kayo mapagkatiwalaan eh. Pirma kayo ng pirma ng kontrata, pero pag-alanganin na o treaty, pag-alanganin na atras kayo. So it is also to the interest of the Philippine government na i-fulfill ang obligasyon sa ICC precisely because we have committed ourselves to do our obligation. So in any case, Mr. Chair, the ICC has jurisdiction, and we are supposedly bound dapat to implement that jurisdiction, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, is it correct to assume that the subject matter of the case before the ICC or the crimes that we are referring to are crimes committed before the withdrawal? Is
Yes,
that correct?
Mr. Chair. That is correct, Mr. Chair.
If I may add, Mr. Chair and Your Honors, that was one of the issues taken up by the pretrial chambers. Ito na po yung court ng International Criminal Court when it granted the request of the prosecutor to conduct a formal investigation. In September 15, 2021, sa isang written decision ng pretrial chamber, they found, number one, that there was reasonable basis to proceed with the investigation, and number two, that the case falls within the court's jurisdiction. Hindi po nila papayagan ang prosecutor na mag-imbestiga sa isang kaso kung wala naman jurisdiction ang ICC. Kung ganun po, dapat matagal na nilang dinismiss ang kaso. It's very clear under the rulings of the ICC as well as the Rome Statute, which is the treaty that the Philippines ratified, that that jurisdiction exists.
Mr. Chair, nais ko rin pong magdagdag dun sa mga sinabi nila Attorney Nery Colmenares and Attorney Chel Jokno. Bukod po sa Rome Statute itself, bukod po sa pronouncement ng pretrial chamber ng ICC, ang mismong Korte Suprema natin, in the 2021 case of Pangilinan versus Cayetano, I quote from the decision penned by Senior Associate Justice Marvic Leonen. What is the effect of withdrawal? Yun po ang issue na sinagot dun sa ruling na yun. Withdrawing from the Rome Statute does not discharge a state party from the obligations it has incurred. Then the Supreme Court proceeded to say, a state shall not be discharged by reason of its withdrawal from the obligations arising from the statute while it was a party. Its withdrawal shall not affect any cooperation with the court in connection with criminal investigations and proceedings in relation to which the withdrawing state had a duty to cooperate and which were commenced prior to the date on which the withdrawal became effective. So malinaw, kahit nag-withdraw na, dun sa mga alleged crimes against humanity committed within the period of 2016 to 2019. I'm sorry, 2011. May I correct myself? 2011 to 2019. Yung 2011, yun po ang date na rinatify ng Senado yung Rome Statute. Na naging officially member state tayo ng Rome Statute. Yung 2019 naman ay yung date na naging effective yung withdrawal. Kasi winidraw po tayo ng dating Pangulong Duterte sa Rome Statute noong March 2018. So 1 year after that, March 2019, naging effective yung withdrawal. Nakasabi, malinaw talaga yan sa Rome Statute, na habang miyembro ka, meron kang obligasyon to cooperate kung ano man yung mga proceedings. So miyembro pa tayo from 2011 to 2019, kaya pwede pa na mag-imbestiga ang ICC. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you for
Your
that.
Honor, may I be given a chance to respond? Marami na masyadong tao ang sasagsalita against me. At least give me also only one person to, my lawyer, to give his piece of the legal issues involved. To be fair,
With the indulgence of the members of the committee, we will allow the lawyer of the former president to speak before the Quad. But Attorney Medjaldea, please be reminded that the time will be limited.
Yes,
So you are given 5 minutes.
This will be very short, sir. Ma'am, we withdrew from the statute in 2018, right? Secretary de Lima?
March 2018, so 1 year after that is the effectivity.
1 year after that. And under that provision, we were given a period of 1 year within which to conduct our investigations, right?
Opo?
Did
Mr.
we-
Chairman, just a point of order. Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chairman, point of order.
Yeah, okay.
Mr. Chairman, let me remind the resource person, former Secretary Veldia, you cannot ask question to a
sorry.
fellow resource person. If you want to ask question, you course through it to another member of this
sorry.
committee. Please refrain and can you rephrase your point or you can manifest your position?
Under the statute, Mr. Chairman, we had a period of 1 year. The ICC had a period within a period of 1 year to conduct the investigation. The fact is there was no investigation ever conducted, right? Okay, so that's for you to. Second, there was a decision rendered by the ICC in 2021. It was a decision wherein 3 of the justices said that the investigation should proceed, while 2 others dissented. The 2 of those who dissented mentioned that we could no longer proceed with this because there is no longer any jurisdiction on the part of ICC. They were outvoted, but however, the 3 did not take note of the jurisdiction, did not issue on the issue of jurisdiction. I think we should review the decision on that, sir. I think there is a misrepresentation. There was no mention about any jurisdiction,
If they had no jurisdiction, how could they rule?
they had no jurisdiction, Mr. Chairman.
How could they rule then?
Mr. Chair?
Okay, we don't want this to become a debate among the resource persons. There was a question raised by Congressman.
Sir, can I just be, hindi ko lang maano because unang-una ho, nagkaroon ng desisyon ang ICC 3 and 2, okay? 2 dissented, saying that we have no longer have any jurisdiction over this case. The 3 others rendered the decision saying that the investigation should proceed, but never touch on the issue of jurisdiction. So up to this point in time, Mr. Chairman, we submit that there is still no jurisdiction which has been ruled upon by the ICC. That's why up to now, they cannot even move here.
Okay, thank
Mr.
you.
Chairman,
Thank you, Attorney Mejaldea. Does that satisfy Congressman Bungalon?
Yes, I would like to thank our resource persons for giving us the explanation on the issue of jurisdiction. And anyway, Mr. Chair, to end the discussion on the jurisdiction, probably we can just ask one explanation from the lawyers and one explanation from the counsel of former President Duterte, and then I'll shift to another issue, Mr. Chair, just to settle everything about jurisdiction. Anyway, what is clear right now is that there is an ongoing investigation with the ICC, and we cannot settle that issue here in the Quadcom hearing, Mr.
Mr. Chairman,
That is correct.
Mr. Chair.
Attorney Mejaldea has already stated that the decision was, there was no jurisdiction, if I understood it correctly. And what you're saying, Congressman Bungalon, is that you will ask another lawyer to dispute the fact that the statement made by Attorney Mejaldea is not true? Is that what you mean?
Because when the former executive secretary was explaining, I guess Attorney Nery Colmenares would like to answer in response to the statement made. And after giving Attorney Colmenares a chance to explain, then we will also give another chance. And that would be the end, Mr. Chair, on the issue of jurisdiction.
Okay, if that is the agreement of the members of the committee, then the chair will allow our resource persons to reply to the questions raised by Congressman Bungalon.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Mr.
Why are we even discussing this ICC issue? I think mas meron pong mga importante that need to be settled. And as a matter of fact, Mr. Chairman, maraming different views ang members. Like for example, ako, talagang we have the pronouncement that let the ICC get the documents from us. Hindi po para i-discuss natin yung mga bagay na ito dito sa Quadcom. We have agreed that let the ICC do their thing and we will do our thing as well, Mr. Chairman. So I believe we stop this discussion about ICC, Mr. Chairman.
In fairness to Congressman Bungalon, he has the floor. Congressman Fernandez. And 1 minute suspension as requested by the Vice President.